In a remote region, far from known centers of early civilization, a structure was documented that should not exist. There are no nearby settlements, no historical records, no evidence of sustained human occupation. And yet, carved into the terrain, stands a formation whose geometry does not resemble natural erosion. The structure is not decorative, it is not random. Its angles are deliberate, its alignment precise. If built intentionally, it implies knowledge. If formed naturally, it defies probability. And that is where the problem begins. Satellite imagery first revealed its outline. From above, the formation displays symmetry inconsistent with geological randomness. Field surveys confirmed the structure's physical presence. Massive stone segments appear fitted together with measurable uniformity. Tool marks, subtle but detectable, suggest mechanical shaping rather than erosion. But the surrounding environment tells a different story. There are no foundations of dwellings, no pottery fragments, no burial sites. Civilizations leave traces. This site does not. Dating efforts complicated the narrative further. Organic material found in adjacent sediment layers suggests the site predates known regional cultures. Radiometric dating placed surrounding strata thousands of years earlier than expected human settlement patterns. If the structure was built by humans, it implies a civilization unaccounted for. If it was not built by humans, then its geometry becomes harder to explain. Geological analysis ruled out common natural formations. The stone composition matches nearby bedrock, but the arrangement does not. Fracture lines do not align with tectonic stress patterns. Erosion patterns do not account for symmetry. Computer modeling of natural processes failed to replicate the structure's configuration without introducing highly improbable conditions. Nature produces complexity, but intentional angles require explanation. Researchers proposed that the structure might represent an unfinished or short-lived settlement. Yet archaeological excavation yielded no domestic artifacts, no signs of agriculture, no waste deposits, no structural expansion phases. Civilizations grow in layers, socially and materially. This structure stands alone, isolated, as if constructed without context. Another hypothesis suggested ritual or ceremonial use.
Perhaps a temporary gathering site, a seasonal monument. But even ceremonial sites leave evidence: offerings, carvings, symbolic engravings. The surfaces here are minimal, functional. There is no iconography, no inscription, no cultural fingerprint. The absence of surrounding infrastructure intensifies the anomaly. Civil engineering requires support systems, transportation of materials, workforce organization, tool production. None of these leave zero trace. Yet this structure appears disconnected from logistical reality. If constructed, it implies planning. If planned, it implies society. And that society is missing. Over time, academic interest began to slow. The initial surveys were thorough. Measurements were logged, coordinates were mapped, geological samples cataloged. Papers were presented at conferences, cautiously worded, technically restrained. No dramatic conclusions, no speculative leaps. And then, gradually, the volume of discussion decreased. New excavations were not prioritized. Funding shifted towards sites with clearer historical frameworks. Research teams redirected their focus to locations that fit established narratives. The structure remained exactly where it was, unchanged, measurable, accessible, but attention moved elsewhere. This is not unusual in scientific practice. Research ecosystems operate within constraints: funding cycles, publication pressure, theoretical continuity. An anomaly without contextual support becomes difficult to sustain. Without inscriptions, without cultural artifacts, without a surrounding civilization to anchor it, the structure offered no narrative progression. It resisted classification, and classification is how history is organized. The site was archived, referenced, documented, but no longer central. Other isolated structures have been discovered across different continents. Some were eventually contextualized through expanded excavation. Others were absorbed into revised regional timelines. But this structure shares a more troubling trait. Its isolation is not partial, it is complete. No nearby settlements, no defensive perimeter, no evidence of sustained habitation within logistical range. When archaeologists identify ancient architecture, they usually uncover layers of societal residue: tools, waste deposits, food remains, burial sites, symbolic markings. Civilization leaves density. Here, there is none. The geometry is precise, the placement deliberate, but the social footprint is absent.
This structure does not exist at the edge of explanation. It exists beyond it. Not disproven, not integrated, simply suspended in uncertainty. The structure still stands, exposed to wind, to temperature shifts, to time itself. It has not collapsed. It has not dissolved into geological randomness. It remains measurable, aligned along specific angles, positioned with spatial intention. It does not announce itself as revolutionary. It does not demand that textbooks be rewritten, but it introduces tension into a narrative often presented as complete. If civilization leaves traces, why does this trace leave no civilization? If architecture implies society, where is the society? If engineering implies knowledge, where is the lineage of that knowledge? History is built not only on what is found, but on how findings connect to broader systems. This structure resists connection, and in that resistance, it becomes significant. The anomaly is not in the stone itself. It is in the absence surrounding it. Absence of tools, absence of language, absence of continuity. Presence without context is uncomfortable, because context is what makes history coherent. Without it, the timeline develops fractures. The structure does not prove a lost civilization. It does not confirm alternative histories, but it stands as a reminder that sometimes evidence appears before explanation. And when it does, silence can be as revealing as discovery.